This is not a car story.
This is a power story. A Chinese company just dethroned Tesla, and most of the world didn't even notice. Tesla was once worth more than every car company on Earth combined. Today, BYD is selling more vehicles than Tesla. Not with hype, not with marketing, but with factories, batteries, and state-level strategy. This isn't competition. This is an economic war. Because whoever controls electric vehicles controls energy, data, and the future of the global economy. And right now,
China is moving faster than anyone expected.
so how did the king lose its crown without collapsing? And what happens if the West already lost this war? And the question nobody wants to ask, what does this mean for global security and the next geopolitical conflict? This is how Tesla lost the crown. Tesla versus BYD. How the electric vehicle king lost its crown. For more than a decade, Tesla wasn't just winning. Tesla was the story. A company that made electric cars feel inevitable. A brand that turned charging stations into temples. A CEO who could move markets with a single sentence. And then, the numbers started to change. Not in one dramatic crash, but in quiet, compounding ways. A fraction here, a margin there, a price cut, another. And while the world watched Elon Musk dominate headlines, another empire was being built in near silence. A company most Western audiences dismissed as just another Chinese automaker. A company that didn't need hype, because it had something more powerful. Control. Of batteries, of supply chains, of costs, of scale. Its name was BYD. And the moment Tesla realized it was in a war, the other side had already been fighting for years. Because this story isn't really about cars. It's about who controls the future. The rise. Tesla makes cars feel like destiny. Tesla didn't invent the electric car, but Tesla made the electric car matter. The Model S didn't just compete. It humiliated the idea that EVs were slow and boring. The Model 3 didn't just sell, it mainstreamed the category. By 2020, Tesla delivered nearly 500,000 vehicles. By 2021, it delivered over 936,000. By 2022, Tesla hit 1.31 million deliveries. By 2023, Tesla delivered 1.81 million vehicles. That's not growth. That's momentum with gravity. And the market rewarded it like a religion. Tesla wasn't valued like a car company. It was valued like a future monopoly. Because investors weren't buying vehicles, they were buying the promise of autonomy, robotaxis, software margins, energy dominance. A world where Tesla becomes the operating system for transportation. But here's the first cliffhanger. Every story built on belief has a weakness. Belief only survives if execution stays ahead of expectation. And by 2023, expectation had become a monster. Two men, two origins. Musk versus Wang Chuanfu. This isn't just Tesla versus BYD. It's two philosophies, two founders, two paths to power. Musk is the loud type of genius. Vision first, reality second. The man who sells tomorrow so the world funds today. BYD's founder, Wang Chuanfu, is the opposite. He didn't build a myth, he built a machine. BYD began in 1995, not as an automaker, but as a battery company. Wang's background is chemistry and materials, not marketing, not spectacle. And that difference matters, because in E-verse, the battery is the crown. Not the touchscreen, not the design, not the autopilot branding. The battery decides cost, range, safety, scale, profit, survival. And while Tesla was becoming the face of the EV revolution, China was building the supply chain that would decide who wins it. And Tesla, despite its brilliance, was still buying key parts from others, which leads to the quiet weapon that changed everything.
The battery war. Control the cell, control the future. In most EVs, batteries represent a massive chunk of total cost. Depending on the vehicle and chemistry, it can be a make or break percentage. So here's the question Tesla never fully escaped. Can you be the king if someone else controls your crown? Tesla worked with suppliers like Panasonic, LG Energy Solution, and CATL. BYD didn't. BYD built vertically, materials to cells, cells to packs, packs to cars. In 2020, BYD unveiled the Blade battery. It pushed lithium iron phosphate, LFP, harder than most rivals. Not because it was sexy, because it was strategic. LFP tends to be cheaper, more thermally stable, and safer. BYD famously marketed Blade battery safety through a nail penetration test, reporting no smoke or fire with surface temperatures around 30 to 60 degrees Celsius. And while the world obsessed over 0 to 60 times, BYD obsessed over cost per kilowatt hour. Because cost per kilowatt hour is where empires are decided. In 2023, Bloomberg NEF reported average lithium-ion pack prices around $139 per kilowatt hour. In 2024, they reported a drop to $115 per kilowatt hour, a major step down. That decline didn't just help everyone, it rewarded the companies best positioned to industrialize it. And BYD was positioned like a nation-state. Because in China, EV dominance wasn't only corporate ambition, it was strategy. The scale trap. When Tesla cuts prices and the floor gives way.
In January 2023, Tesla hit the industry with price cuts that, depending on the model and market, ran roughly 6 to 20%. This was Tesla's classic move. Lower prices, force competitors to bleed, win by endurance. But this time, something changed. BYD didn't bleed. BYD had the cost structure to fight. And when Tesla cuts prices, there's an immediate consequence. Margins collapse. Tesla's filings show gross margin pressure after the price war era. In the year ended 2023, Tesla reported gross margin for total automotive and services and other fell from 26.5% to 18.2% versus 2022. In 2024, that segment gross margin decreased again from 18.2% to 16.9%. That's not just a financial metric. That's oxygen leaving the room. Because Tesla's entire valuation story, its narrative economy, relied on the idea that it would eventually earn software-like margins at massive scale. But price wars don't create software margins. They create metal-on-metal survival. And the scariest part? The moment Tesla proved it would cut prices to protect volume, it trained the market to wait. And once consumers learn to wait, demand becomes a weapon against you. The moment the crown moved. Numbers that don't need a press conference. By 2023, Tesla still looked like the king on paper. Tesla delivered about 1.81 million vehicles in 2023. In 2024, Tesla delivered 1,789,226. In 2025, Tesla delivered 1,636,129. Now look at BYD. BYD's own reporting says it concluded 2023 with over 3 million annual sales. BYD reported 2024 global vehicle sales of 4.27 million, up about 41% year over year. And Reuters reported BYD's 2025 full-year sales rose 7.73% to about 4.6 million units. Now, critics will correctly note, BYD's totals include plug-in hybrids, not just fully battery electric. So let's narrow to a psychological turning point that hit like a gunshot in a quiet room. In Q4 2023, BYD sold 526,409 battery electric vehicles, while Tesla delivered 484,507. No parade, no ceremony, But that's how crowns move in real life. Not with applause, with arithmetic. Cybertruck. The distraction that arrived at the worst time. The Tesla Cybertruck was supposed to be a statement, a symbol that Tesla could still shock the world. Announced in 2019, first delivery scheduled for November 30th, 2023. But the Cybertruck also became something else. A resource sink, a complexity bomb, a magnet for headlines that didn't help the core mission. When Tesla needed ruthless focus on cost, scale, and global competition, it was building one of the hardest vehicles in the industry to manufacture. And even if the Cybertruck didn't kill Tesla, it did something subtler. It pulled attention away from the one battle Tesla could not afford to lose: the mass-market battery electric vehicle. Because while Tesla chased spectacle, BYD chased something far more deadly. Geopolitics, when electric vehicles become national security. U.S. Capitol, European Commission, Chinese megafactories, cargo ships crossing oceans. Eventually, this stopped being just business. In May 2024, the United States moved to raise tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles to 100%. Not a tax, a warning. Europe followed. In October 2024, the European Union announced definitive countervailing duties on Chinese electric vehicles, listing BYD at 17%, on top of the standard import duty. 17% for a car. Why? Because an EV is not just a car. An EV is battery supply, critical minerals, industrial capacity, software stacks, grid integration, strategic manufacturing. In other words, power. China didn't just build cars, it built an ecosystem. Mining, refining, factories, shipping routes, software. BYD expanded manufacturing globally, pushing into Europe, Brazil, and emerging markets, while signaling overseas domination as the next phase. The battlefield widened. It wasn't Tesla versus BYD anymore, it became China versus the West, scale versus regulation, cost versus tariffs, factories versus politics. And in that kind of war, the best product doesn't always win. The best system does. Why Tesla lost the crown without really falling. Tesla superchargers, software updates, autopilot UI overlays, factory shots. Here's the twist that makes this story more interesting. Tesla didn't suddenly become a bad company. Tesla is still extraordinary. Even now, Tesla retains real advantages: a globally recognized brand, a powerful charging ecosystem, manufacturing expertise at scale, deep software integration. But Tesla's edge narrowed at the exact moment the market shifted, from who can build electric vehicles to who can build electric vehicles profitably for everyone. BYD's advantage is brutal in its simplicity: cost, scale, control. The moment electric vehicles became a mass commodity, the company with battery leverage gained gravity. And Tesla, for the first time in years, had to react. React to prices, react to Chinese speed, react to politics, react to expectations. And when Tesla reacts, it stops writing the story. It starts living inside someone else's. 2030 to 2040. The future wars nobody can fully see yet. Humanoid robots, AI chips, autonomous cities, cinematic drone movement. So what happens next? Because if you think this war ends with cars, you're watching the wrong battlefield. But
while Tesla and BYD fight for the future of mobility,
Another war is exploding right now, silently, inside your phone. Piracy isn't just illegal downloads. It's data, technology, artificial intelligence, and global power. The next empire won't be built on factories. It will be built on stolen information. Governments are spying. Companies are stealing. AI models are trained on secrets. And you are the product. This is the hidden war of piracy. And you're already inside it. Next episode, the dark economy of stolen data.